And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. It is finally time to talk Superman.
Oh, nice.
Time to talk Superman. Yeah, they actually gave these out like they're legitimate comics. I think that the movie was based on. But they gave these out at our IMAX screening.
Nice.
It's very cool. But yeah, t finally time to talk Superman. James Gunn directed it, starring David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan and Nicholas Hoult and a whole bunch of others. Um, And yeah, like I said earlier, it is the first real full installment of the DCU. Obviously, like Peacemaker is essentially in the DCU, as we also find out in this movie. But it's really, ever since Suicide Squad, that's kind of when it like really just the previous one world just kind of ended. And I think James Gunn kind of like officially, restarted it with Peacemaker. So, um, yeah, this is the first full movie, like I said earlier, with the most famous superhero of all time. When you think of superheroes, you think of Superman. I mean, it's like Superman and Batman are probably the two most iconic of all time. So this has been a huge deal. Everyone's been really excited but also nervous, including us, because obviously, like we really enjoy a lot of DC stuff, but it hasn't really been consistent at all in the last what 10 years or so, ever
Right.
since the Nolan trilogy. Um, it's just been choppy. There's been a couple that we really enjoyed, and then there's just a lot of crap that just sucks. I honestly like enjoy Man of Steel. I think that's a good. It's a little bit obviously it's a darker take,
Right.
but I still really enjoy Man of Steel. Batman versus Superman is kind of in the Justice League. The original Justice League is horrible. Obviously, the Snyder cut is pretty good. Um, but yeah, it just never like quite worked. So this is the first like reset of it all. And we got James Gunn at the helm, who obviously up until this point has proven that he has the chops to direct a big comic book movie. I don't think he's directed one bad comic book movie. What, we got all three Guardians, Suicide Squad. He did Peacemaker. Um, what am I leaving out? Suicide Squad. Um, yeah, dude. I mean, everything he's done is just great movie. Um, so we were excited, and this movie's been getting a ton of hype, a whole lot of hype over, the past couple weeks, the month, like leading up to it, and it's killing it at the box office. Everyone's been loving it, and I think me and you both did as well. Safe to say that like DCU is definitely here. Um, Superman is back. Definitely a different style Superman than we've seen in a long time. Like
Right.
really since the originals, back the original one way back in the day with Christopher Reeve. Um, just a much more lighthearted, funny, comic book accurate, I feel like, emotional version of Superman compared to what we got in the Zack Snyder movies. That's not to say those are bad movies, but it's just a different take. It's someone else's different style of directing and their style of storytelling. And this is James Gunn and Zack Snyder are obviously just two very stylistically different people or
Right.
directors. With Snyder being much more dark and serious, and then Gunn's obviously like done the silliest comic book movies. So yeah, this was a super refreshing take on the character that I had not really seen before, and everyone is saying it is very much true to the comics and true to his actual character. Apparently in the comics he is much more like funny and lighthearted, and he isn't perfect. And I feel like sometimes in like the Snyder movies, like he just seems like unbeatable, you know? He really seems they really like just portray him as a god, which he I mean essentially is, but in this movie like he feels more grounded and he legitimately like feels beatable. I think for like the first time ever in a Superman movie. Um which was refreshing. It's not like you're going in and you're like, oh, it's just Superman. He's good. He can beat anything. There's moments in this movie that you're like, how is he going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Which was refreshing for a character like this. So, um, yeah, up front, I'm going to say that we both enjoyed it. I definitely have a couple issues with it, and we can dive into that. Definitely way more pros than cons, but I'm not going to lie. I think I am a little bit lower on it than you. But that's not to say I didn't have a damn good time at the theater. This was a fun, fun theater experience. It is, it is just stereotypical blockbuster superhero, just feel good summertime, middle of July movie. It's great. It's great. It's great. Everyone needs to go check it out if you have not already. But yeah, let's hear your thoughts, and then we can kind of jump into like some pros and cons.
Yeah, man, I agree with everything you say. This is definitely a different take, and I'm with you. I enjoy Man of Steel. I know that some people do not, and they don't like the creative choices in that, but I think Man of Steel is a good movie, and I like Henry Cavill there too. But we're not here to talk about the difference between Zack Snyder and James Gunn. This is all about James Gunn's Superman and his new DCU. And I gotta say, man, this is such a strong start to the DCU. We know that Peacemaker technically in Creature Commandos is technically like the official start, but this is the first movie we've gotten with the most iconic superhero of all time in comic book history. Everyone knows who Superman is. It does not matter, that's one at an early age you're gonna know. And I gotta say off the rip that this is I just I think they did such a good job with comic accuracy, and David Cornsweet does a really really good job as Superman. I was obviously very nervous because this is a tough character to handle. I mean, this is you're not only are you starting a cinematic universe with this character, but this is the character that everyone knows. Like, how do you portray him? And I do like the fact that he is not perfect, and he has the monologue, towards the end, or the couple lines towards the end, saying that he's just as human as anyone. He feels, he laughs, he messes up and all that. And I think that's such a good job. And I think the surrounding cast is just as good. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor is so good, man. I think they nailed this casting, and you really felt like Lex Luthor just absolutely hated Superman. And you know, yeah, I think that's exactly what you need. And sometimes it's just pure hatred of someone that makes him a villain. Rachel Brosnahan is great as Lois Lane. Jimmy Olsen's character is fantastic. But I think the surprise MVP is Mr. Terrific. I think he is incredible in this movie. I loved Nathan Filoni as or
Billion.
Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. He's incredible, and Hawk Girl was awesome in this movie too. The couple times we get to see her, so the list can go on and on and on about the performances in this movie. And sometimes you don't get that in a superhero movie. You have some not great performances, but I felt like this one was pretty strong. And yeah, I loved the cameos that we got, whether it be Supergirl as a look forward to what we're gonna get next year, or Peacemaker that we're gonna get literally next month, and some people that we're gonna see in the future of this DCU. So I thought it was incredible. What a start! What a ride! I thought this movie was incredible, and it tackled, I think, some issues that happen in the real world, and I thought they did a good job as well. James Gunn is off to a really, really, really strong start, and I can't wait to see where the DCU goes after this.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you said, the couple teasers for like what we got to look forward to were very cool. The John Cena appearance, I think, got a huge pop from our audience.
Yeah,
That was really funny. But yeah, I want to go ahead and just jump into my cons, just get them out of the way, and then we could just continue to praise because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
more to praise. But I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple issues with this movie. I don't think I'm definitely lower on it than the general public. People are lauding it as like one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, and I just do not feel that way. I think it's an extremely great one, but I don't know. I just had a couple issues, and I it has nothing to do with the acting or like the visuals or the act. The action was incredible. Some of the
Hmm.
best like comic book action we've ever seen, and the
Yeah.
act, like you said, across the board. As many characters as it had, they were all great. Crypto was awesome. Like so much good stuff. But my biggest issue with this movie is the pacing. This movie, it felt so rushed. Um, this is like there is a whole lot going on in this movie and a whole lot of characters and a lot of things, from the very beginning to the end. I think this movie needed to be 30 to 45 minutes longer for what it tried to fit in there. I feel like outside of Lois and Clark and Lex Luthor, I didn't really get much out of most anybody. I mean, Mr. Terrific, he's an exception. He was awesome, but there were just characters that I feel like they were introduced and we didn't really spend a lot of time with them, and I didn't really like get connected with them emotionally, and there's just a lot going on. And I remember telling you, we even talked about it like when the trailer came out, like, we were a little nervous about them introducing so many characters at once. And after seeing it, I don't think it's the issue that there's so many characters introduced. I think that it's just very rushed and you don't get to spend a lot of time with a lot of those side characters. Like I feel like Hawk Girl and Guy Gardner really weren't. I don't know. We just didn't. I mean, we didn't spend a ton of time with them, and I wanted to spend more time with them, with the whole Justice Gang. And then, I mean, obviously the big three you get a lot of time with. I don't think them three are the issue at all, but I don't know. I was talking to Tyler about it and a couple other people at work, and for me, my biggest issue is the pacing. I it's the first big Superman movie, since in what, almost 15 years or something like that. And it was like clocked in at like right at 2 hours. This movie needs to be 2.5, 2:45 with all of the stuff that it's introducing. Um, that's just my nitpicky thing. Sometimes we say movies need to be shorter because it's just too much. I think this one was too short, and I think it needed more. And then my other was I think another just kind of with the story. I think it at points just gets a bit convoluted, and there's some things that I didn't really need out of it. I think all of the stuff that happened like in the other dimension was just kind of odd. I didn't love the scene of him rescuing the baby and then like drowning in that lava that was flowing towards a black hole. I mean, I know that's like Superman comic stuff, but like it just felt a little unnecessary. There was a whole lot going on, and I would have rather them just honestly stayed in the real world the whole time rather than like going between these dimensions and stuff. I think that's too much to introduce this early. Um, like the prison break scene was cool, but I don't know, just a couple weird little issues like that. I think some stuff could have been cut and some stuff could have been expounded upon a little more. I love how they jumped into this movie already having established, like it was like you what, 3 centuries ago, 3 decades ago, three whatever. Um, it like jumps into the story like midway through the story. You don't get all the intro stuff, which is good and refreshing. I really liked that. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's definitely way more pros to this movie than cons, but for me, the biggest issue was pacing. And then there were just a couple story elements that I just didn't love. But everything that happened like in the real world, I absolutely loved. It was just that like the alternate dimensions and stuff that kind of like I don't know, kind of took me out of it a little bit. But outside of that, and I'll let you go, and then we can just continue to praise because there's a whole lot more good things I want to talk about as well. Um, but yeah, those are my really only issues. I know you're definitely a little higher on it than me, but did you have any little nitpicky things on it as well? Or
Yeah, so
do you agree with me on anything?
I thought that I can definitely understand the pacing issues or the other dimension part of it. I personally love the other dimension because we're not trying to do like a multiversal thing. Like Lex Luthor is a billionaire absolute genius. Like he knows how to do all that stuff. So the pocket dimension, is for me, like I could follow that and be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like he's not going to keep all these people in the real world. He's going to keep them where only he knows who gets in and out, and he has the power, the money, and the brains to be able to do that. So I was okay with that. My thing that I do agree with you, like there are a lot of characters in this movie, absolutely. I think Mr. Terrific is the one that shines because we get so much time with him. But that's not to say like Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl don't have their moments. It's just like we're not gonna care as much about those characters because we didn't have enough time with them, and that's understandable. Like you want to be able to connect with these characters, obviously, because these are going to be characters that we see again moving forward, which I guess could be kind of the counterpoint is that you are going to see these characters moving forward. So you'll get some more like story elements with them. But yes, I do agree. We talked about it when the trailer came out. Like there are a lot of characters in this movie, but I do find it funny that like they're calling them Justice Gang. There's only three of them, and all of that good stuff. So we have a lot to set up between now and before we ever, if we ever get a Justice League movie again. But yeah, no, agree there. And yeah, I'm trying to think of any other cons. I I don't know, man. Like there's a couple things that maybe are like a little small that if I go back and watch, I'll be like, okay, like that I don't really care for, that I don't really care for. But for the most part, it was just the amount of characters that we got. I would have rather focused that time on like Guy Gardner and Hot Girl, like you can either make the movie longer or let's spend that time with either like more Lois or more like Jimmy Olsen because we're gonna see those characters again too, and Superman's closer with those characters anyways. But I am glad that we did not get like a whole Superman origin story again. They did it with Spider-Man. Marvel did it with Spider-Man, and then with the new Batman, we didn't have a new origin story either. And I think that's very smart. Keep going that route. Because we've already seen this over and over and over again. We don't need new takes on origin stories if we've seen them multiple times. So, yeah, my biggest complaint is just the amount of characters. If you just had one, like if you just had a Guy Gardner or just had a Mr. Terrific, I think it would work. And you also have multiple villains too. I mean, we have the Engineer, Lex Luthor, and Ultraman. And then, halfway through the movie, we get a Metamorpho now too that's supposed to be a hero or what, an ally as well. And then we get a cool little cameo from Superwoman as well, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, no, yeah, the amount of characters is a lot, and if you aren't connected with DC Comics or don't know who these characters are, I could see that some people left a little bit confused. But hey, like that's something that we'll get to learn about some of these characters going forward. So I was a little bit less like not mad about that as much, I guess.
Fair, fair.
But
With
the I understand the pacing issues, but yeah, I think they're minimal in my opinion. Like, I definitely understand where you're coming from. I would definitely like can see like your argument, but in my opinion, they're just minimal to me.
No, that's completely fair. All right. Well, let's just jump into the good stuff now. All right. Now let's jump into a bunch more of my pros. Got the cons out of the way. This movie has a whole lot more pros than cons. Biggest pro for me, David Corn Sweat. I don't think I've ever seen anybody more perfect for the role. I thought Henry Cavill was perfect for the role. Nah, David Corn Sweat's the man. I think he might be the best on-screen Superman we've ever gotten. Uh, Everything that I want Superman to be, he is. He represents like hope and just being a good person at its core. Um, it doesn't matter whether you're a human or a dog or a squirrel or a weird looking alien baby, like he is gonna take care of you. He's gonna do everything that he can to take care of people that deserve it and that need it, which I love. Like I said earlier, like I love how this movie just jumps into him already being established as Superman. The world already knows who he is. We don't have to deal with all like the baby steps along the way. Like he already is this character. Obviously, there's always, room for growth, but like he already is like who he is. He is the hero that everyone loves and everyone looks up to, and he is a beacon of hope for everybody. And I just think Corn Sweat just embodies that perfectly. Not only does he like look the part, but like I could genuinely feel it through his performance. He's very serious and emotional when it comes to it, but this is like the funniest Superman I've ever seen. He's very silly, quick-witted. Some of the stuff between like him and some of the others, or more specifically, I think a couple things that happened between him and Jimmy Olsen in the movie were really funny. Just kind of like goofing around in the office, just little things like that. It was just so refreshing to see like such a much more upbeat um, version of the character. Um, and yeah, I think he's the biggest pro. And then also uh, up there, like I said, the action was unreal. Some of the best like flying, fast speed, like flying at a high speed. Like it's the best it's ever looked in movies, I think. James Gunn, just the camera work and everything, and the interesting like angles and transitions and stuff that he was able to pull off, or just sick and like things that I feel like I've never seen from a hero that can fly before. I think it was very unique in the way it was done, and all the action sequences that took place in the city. I also like how like almost all of it was during the daytime, so you could see everything. Everything's bright. I think Crypto looked great. Crypto was awesome. Every scene he was in was like so. I was just had a big smile on my face.
Yeah.
Uh, I love how like Superman kind of didn't like him,
Yeah.
but then he was like, you know what? He's not even he's my dog. He's not even a very good one, but he's scared and he needs help.
Right.
Like just little things like that. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many like little moments that just like little moments like that are even better to me than like the big action sequences. Me personally, I think the best scene of the whole movie is when he goes to Kansas to see his parents.
Yeah.
Um, that is away from all the action. He gets there, he's hurt. He wakes up on the bed with Crypto on his chest. Very cute scene. But then the talk that he has with Ma and Pa Kent, especially the talk with Pa Kent, like outside. He goes out and sits on the porch, and they just talk for like 5 minutes, and it is so emotional, and I think so important to this character, and something that we didn't really get at all from any of the Snyder movies. Like Superman grew up as a human in the middle of Kansas on a farm. And I think like this was really important in reminding you that like he is just as human as the rest of us,
Right.
which is a huge part of his character, and something that I think we forget a lot, especially in the Snyder movies. I genuinely think that was like the best part of the whole movie. It was like the emotional core, and really like gives him the boost that he needs to go and like finish the job or whatever. Um, and then lastly, and I'll let you go, dude, the score. Oh my God. Oh my God, the score, dude. I had already thought we had heard the best Superman score ever. Whether or not you love like Zack Snyder's movies, like Hans Zimmer is what the greatest, arguably the greatest composer of all time. His score in Man of Steel is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. I literally listen to it sometimes. Um, like the whole score during the Henry Cavill's like first flight sequence,
Hmm.
just different things like that. But like, I think this score in this new one was even better.
Yep.
Um, so I think like obviously the original Superman score from the original one with Christopher Reeve is like that's a John Williams score. I don't know if you even knew, but it's John Williams, and that's much more like upbeat, heroic, energy, happy. And then Hans Zimmer scores a little bit of a darker, more serious tone. And then I think this one like merges the two.
Yeah.
It gets elements of the original fun, John Williams score, but then you also get like the little guitar riffs that you get from Hans Zimmer's. Um, and dude, I think like it just hit so hard on the big screen in all these like super heroic moments, whether it's him coming out of the rubble or a scene of him flying or just whatever, dude. I think the score um was one of the best of the year. I've actually already listened to it since, like the whole thing. Um, I think this score and F1 are probably the two best scores of the year. Um, absolutely love it. But yeah, I mean, a lot more pros and cons. And then, like we said earlier, some of the side characters are great, especially Mr. Terrific. I think out of all the side characters, he's the best. Um, he, like, not going into this movie, I didn't think he would have a big role, but he ended up having a pretty big role.
Yeah.
Um, he was very, very important. Um, and then even all the side characters, like at the Daily Planet. Is it Planet or Bugle? It's Daily
Daily
Planet.
Planet.
Like Jimmy Olsen and Wendell Pierce's character, Perry, his name's Perry. And then Eve, just all the little side characters they just worked. Um, and then, dude, I mean, there's a whole lot. I think everyone gave a great performance. And I haven't even really said much about Nick Holt's Lex Luthor. I'll let you kind of go on that, but I thought he was unbelievable as well. I was kind of curious to see his take on it, because we've had some good ones and we've had some not so good ones, Jesse Eisenberg. But yeah, dude, I thought Nick Holt absolutely killed it. Yeah, lots of really, really good things. What were the standouts for you?
Yeah, so I think how this one differs from the last Superman movie we got is you can say what you want about the casting or whatever, but like I feel like Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet in this movie as Lois and Clark or Lois and
Chemistry,
Superman, like this is what I want from like a power couple. This is the most famous couple of all time. It's not Iron Man and Pepper. I don't even think it's Peter Parker and Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy, whatever. It's Lois Lane and it's Clark Kent. This is the power couple that of all power couples. And it felt like that in this movie. It felt like they were into each other. It felt like they actually had chemistry. I don't feel like Cavill and Amy Adams together were very like I don't think they had that. And I don't know if it was the writing or just them two in general. But I think this is perfect. I think they are great together. Every scene just feels like they are emotionally connected. And the last scene at the end of the movie of him rising up with her in his arms, man, I think that is like peak stuff, man. As a like, yes, it's superhero movies, but at the end of the day, a lot of these superheroes do have their significant other, and I was very curious to see how they would be together, and I thought they were amazing. Um, you mentioned it at the end, just a second ago. Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor is everything I wanted in Lex Luthor and more. Like he absolutely despises Superman and he hates everything about him. To his hair, to his face, to where he comes from, to what he's known for, to how much everyone likes him. He hates him. And sometimes that is all you need for a good villain. You don't need like an overarching, like deeper down thing. Like I do think his motivation for starting that war at the end when you're like, okay, he could care less about the war. He wants to kill Superman. That is his main goal. He wants Superman one on one. And yeah, dude, he's obviously very smart, and we see his like genius moments of getting into the Fortress of Solitude right down to creating a clone to kill Superman. Um, I thought that the engineer was very good. I actually was very curious to see how she would look in her fight sequences. And I thought she had some very good fight sequences. And the action in general in this movie is incredible. Uh, and it feels like it all happens at the right time. I know you said the pacing was a little bit off, but I feel like every time there was a fight and you would get a score behind the fight, like it just worked. It just
I
was
agree.
so good. Um, and you could go for my favorite fight scene of the whole movie was the one in the baseball stadium. I thought that one of them going back and forth in Superman um on there on like the grass. I thought that one was so well done. But I think every one of them was good. Also like the Mr. Terrific scene where he encases Lois in the bubble and he just goes to town with his T-spheres. Dude, I know nothing about Mr. Terrific. Nothing. He makes me want to find every comic I can find to read Mr. Terrific. He is a standout side character. We do get funny quips from Hawk Girl and Green Lantern, but I think Mr. Terrific takes the cake in this one. I think he is just so good and so funny. Um, I like also how much heart this movie has. Like you said, we get the emotional moments with uh, Clark back home with his mom, pa, and that captures the essence of what Superman is all about because we get the message that his parents sent him and you as an audience member know what Superman is about. But the fact that he's able to get the confidence of the people back and be like, "Hey, look, like I only knew the first half of this message. I'm here to help everyone on earth. It doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from, what your financial status is. That's what Superman is. And to care for a squirrel to get him out of the way is Superman, dog. Like the kids running up to him after that fight and Guy Gardner's walking past and Hot Girl's walking past and all the kids run up to Superman. Where has that been? That's what I want from Superman. He's supposed to be a symbol of hope. The kids bringing up the flag in the middle of that conflict, and it just says Superman. We need you, Superman. How do you not get chills from stuff like that? Like that is incredible stuff, incredible writing. James Gunn gets it. He just does. And I think moments like that just make you like fist pump the air like this is Superman. This is the beacon of hope. This is the man of steel. Like this is the guy who never breaks, never gives up. And you see how strong he is at times too. Him blowing away from a black hole. Are you serious? He just blows that breath and takes him, the baby, Metamorpho, and Crypto away from a freaking black hole. That is Superman, dog. That is Superman. It's so cool to see not only how many people love this movie, but how many people realize like this is what we've been missing in a Superman movie. This is what Superman's supposed to be. I just find that so refreshing, and that's why this is such a good start to the DCU.
Oh yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. Um, Way, way more good than bad for sure. We can go ahead and kind of jump into scores. Like I said, I am a little lower on it than a lot of the other audience, and it's really, like I said, the biggest issue for me is just that pacing, and it just felt a little bit rushed at times, which was frustrating to me. I'm sure on a second watch, I'll probably enjoy it more, and I might even bump it up like half a star.
Mm.
Uh, as for now, though, I gave it 4 stars, um, but it's almost a 4.5. It's at 8.4, almost right there on that 4.5 star range for me. Um, like I said, I just think that a couple of those little cons kind of knocked it down for me. And I honestly, like, I know you probably love it. I don't even, I mean, it just goes to show the caliber director he is. I don't even know if it's a top three James Gunn movie because that's just how good James Gunn is. But I could definitely see, like, if you think it is, 100%. But, like, for me personally, I would 100% have probably Guardians 1 and 3 and Suicide Squad above this. I mean, that's just me
Yeah.
personally. Everyone's different. But I'm 8.4. It's right there at 4.5 stars. I know you're probably definitely higher on it. I think I actually saw your score, but like I said, upon a rewatch, dude, this could get knocked up to a 4.5. I'm definitely going to see this again. This is a movie you see in the theaters,
Yeah,
and when it's out of theaters, you're going to be sad that it's gone. So like, I'm definitely going to
absolutely.
watch it again. Yeah. What did you think? What did you rate it?
Yeah, so definitely higher than you. I am just so excited that we have gotten this caliber Superman movie. Not only is it a good superhero movie, but it's a good movie in general. And I think that is what makes, it sometimes. Like you can have one or the other, or you can have both, and this one's both. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I gave it a 9 too. I was going to ask, when I rated this movie, I knew immediately what I wanted to give it star wise. Again, it's not a 5 star because there definitely are a couple issues, but like they're not enough for me to put it below a 9. I wanted to see where I was gonna compare it to Thunderbolts. How does Superman compare to Thunderbolts? I do have Thunderbolts higher than this, barely. Like, I mean, it is small, small, small. And I can't tell you the reason why I have Thunderbolts above. If I rewatch them both, I might Superman might jump above it. But as of
Yeah,
right now, I have it right below Thunderbolts, and it's at number 5 for the year. I think it's that good. So yeah, I just think that this embodies everything Superman's supposed to be, while also tackling stuff like sense of belonging, or how do you be a beacon of hope in like
be a
a
better
world of
person.
hate. Yeah, so like I think that's why I love this movie so much. And again, James Gunn, and even with it being this high, I still might have it as the fourth best James Gunn movie because Suicide Squad and Guardians 3 are definite 5 out of 5, or 5 stars on Letterboxd. And then it's just where you want to, how high am I on Guardians? And I really am very high on Guardians. So yeah, I have it 4.5 stars and 9.2. Dog, like please guys, this is a movie. This is a blockbuster. This is one that you go get popcorn and drinks for. The stuff at our theater today was sick. There was like a Krypton or a crypto thing, holding a crypto holding a bucket that you could put popcorn in, and then it had a Superman cup that was sick. Um, Go see it in theaters, man. Just like this is what you want movies to be. This is what you want to go see in theaters, whether it be, any superhero movie, but I feel like Superman in the middle of July with everybody that can go see it. Go see this movie, man. It's so cool. It's so cool.
No, it's a sick, sick movie for sure. And the thing about this one that's different than Snyder's, this is much more like of a kid-friendly one. The other ones are much, I mean, kids can see it. Like I saw it when I was a kid, but like this is a much more fun,
Yeah.
funny, entertaining one. I think kids are gonna love it, but then obviously adults like us are gonna love it. It's just genuinely for everyone.
Yep.
Uh, everyone from 5 years old to 100 years old, like, is gonna have a great time with this movie. So, props to James Gunn, dude. He gets it. He understands Superman, and I absolutely cannot wait to see like what the rest of the DCU brings
Yeah.
and what other characters. I'm curious to see like how much more he's going to direct or if he's going to kind of take a step back and maybe more of a producer, just kind of an overseer like
Yep.
Feige,
Yep.
maybe he just did this one just to kind of get it going and then maybe he'll take a step back. I don't know. Or maybe he'll have a couple that he'll direct. Who knows? But until then, dude, he cooks with the first one. I need a sequel ASAP. I cannot wait to see all these characters again. Luckily, we're getting a couple of them are going to be in Peacemaker, at least cameos,
Yep.
for the trailer. So, um, yeah, we'll just have to see. But everybody go see Superman. It's doing great at the box office, and um, yeah, go see it as much as you can until the next superhero movie comes out in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, that is our review of Superman 9-2 and 8-4.